What's the matter with her?
With whom, Mama?
With the woman in the picture.
She's too tightly laced.
And what's the doctor saying, Papa?
He's saying that unless she learns to loosen her corset, she'll go on fainting in public, and life will be a misery for everyone who knows her.
Mademoiselle. No, the young lady is not, as you might think, already hypnotized. But do not see at once, gentlemen, in her physical bearing, that wax and flexibility in her face, that dullness, la belle indifférence, which links the hypnoid and neurotic states. Gentlemen, the lady is in love. 4 years ago, the object of her love parted harshly from her with words of shocking fidelity on the Faubourg Saint-Antoine. For a while, she stood rooted to the spot, and then she walked home. 10 days later, mark the interval, she found that while she could rise from her bed at home without difficulty, a strange impediment had descended on her during the night. Our tests show undiminished muscular strength, and when examined in bed, she is capable of normal movement with normal vigor. And strange to say, she can perform quite complicated leg movements. She can dance, jump, hop, even run, but walk she cannot. Oh, we can guess why. Yet how? How, gentlemen, has she unlearned to walk? Our second patient derives his illness from a less romantic event, a minor railway accident leading several days later to a localized hysterical paralysis. Now, I say hysterical because...
My sweet princess, Paris overwhelms me. I never knew what it was to feel so provincial until now. Even Charcot's lectures appear to belong to the beau monde in all their finery as much to the students of medical science. And Charcot holds them all spellbound. At once doctor, sage, and ringmaster. The great man himself has welcomed me most cordially and arranged a cubicle in the laboratory with all the pickled brain tissue a devout neurologist could wish for. But alas, brain tissue. When I look through the microscope, I might as well be back in Vienna. So I flee into the streets, to the Cité, to Notre Dame, to the Louvre, where I feel a cultural being once more. Yesterday, I walked in a daze down the alley at Versailles with its stone guardians overlooking a nature trimmed and tamed. What splendors, and what a barbarous people. The streets are filled with shouting news vendors and partisans of every revolutionary creed under the sun. The parks are crowded with lovers. Wet nurses feed their charges openly on plein air. Even in the Louvre, French women can scarcely stand before Grecian manhood without sniggering. I am avidly reading The Hunchback. Believe me, the French people haven't changed. And this is the place to read it. And how it makes me ache for you. When Don Claude, the priest, bound by eternal vows, conjures up pictures of Esmeralda, his beloved, one night in particular, so Hugo writes, they so cruelly inflamed his priestly virgin blood that he tore his pillows with his teeth, leapt from the bed, threw a surplice over his nightgown, and thus half naked, wild, with fire in his eyes, he left his cell.
The tragic railway collision at Clermont-Ferrand earlier this year, resulting in several fatalities. This gentleman was among the fortunate. He appeared to have escaped the crash without injury, having thrown out his right hand to save himself from being flung across the carriage. With the onset of paralysis, however, he has joined the long queue of those suing the railway company for damages for loss of health and employment. Your right hand, please. Railway accidents are a prolific source of legal claims from members of the general public. The question arises, are all these claims justified? Are there no malingerers among the claimants? Here is a man with a paralyzed hand, and yet There are half a dozen witnesses who will testify that the man's hand never encountered the floor, the wall, or any part of the railway carriage in question. All it struck was thin air. To whose agency, then, do we attribute these self-inflicted wounds? To the sudden onset of cerebral tumors, as our esteemed colleagues in Vienna maintain? Here, Professor Meinert believes himself able, I understand, to trace even mania and melancholia to the cortical circulation of the blood. Indeed, where else are we to find the source of this many-watered Nile? In what name are we to save these patients from the surgeon's knife? Mademoiselle, you are of the Faubourg Saint-Antoine. Listen carefully. The Faubourg Saint-Antoine. It is midday, hot and dusty. Your lover is walking away. You can see him. You're staring after him, standing, staring, longing with all your might for him to turn, willing for him to turn. Can you see him walking away? His pace, his step is going slower now, more reluctant. He can feel your eyes upon him. He is slowing. He has stopped. Will he turn around? He has turned. You can see his eyes, his face. He takes the first step towards you, coming towards you. Quicker now. He wants you to join him. He can see the tears in your eyes. You go towards him. Go to him. Come to him. Walk. She is now in the arms of her beloved, but only for a short time. Unless we release her, unconsciousness will intervene. This is no cure, gentlemen. It is a passage from one abnormal state into another, even more removed from reality. Now, monsieur, close your eyes. Listen attentively. Raise your right arm. Palm upwards. Slowly extend the fingers. I say extend the fingers. And slowly close. Slowly. And open. You can feel the sensation returning into your hand, into the fingers. Can you feel it?
No. No, sir.
I say you can. And you can close your fingers.
No.
Open your eyes. Fix your gaze on that lamp. Look hard. Gaze at it with all your strength. Let your arm fall to your side. Let it hang. Feel the blood return, enter the fingers, filling them with strength. Now listen to me. It is your left hand that is paralyzed. Your left hand, utterly stiff and dead. You cannot move it. You cannot feel it. Can you? Whereas, in your right hand, sensation has returned. Where are the tumors now, gentlemen? And the cortical blood? Has it begun to run backwards at my command? Monsieur. Mademoiselle, when you hear the gong once more, you will be as you were when you entered the lecture hall. Enough for one day. Yes, these are tricks. What you saw is for you to decide. The power of the mind over the body. A short-lived power, gentlemen. You saw me suspend one illusion and replace it with another. Yet the first illusion returns intact. Why? Why? Of the many victims at Clermont, Ferrand, was it this man's fate to bear a timeless witness? And this girl, of all the rejected lovers in the world, we can only assume that a single traumatic event stirred from sleep some hereditary disposition in her psyche, which, during the ensuing days, that fateful interval, mulled over the material like a busy dramatist to make of it a passion play. And here at the Salpêtrière, what can we do for these poor actors tyrannized by their predestined roles? Will hydrotherapy or tonics ease them off the stage? The best we can offer them, gentlemen, is a fresh setting, away from their moral environment, away from families or friends too weak or too complacent to challenge their dreams. With care and vigilance, with the constant promotion of discipline, with moral and intellectual hygiene, we can set the stage for recovery, sometimes as sudden and as incomprehensible as the onset of illusion. Once more, we are obliged to watch and wonder. Thank you.
Monsieur?
Don't you recognize me? Lef Osipovich von Darkshevich. I spent some months at the General Hospital under your guidance.
Yes, of course. Forgive me.
I am a stranger here myself.
Tyrannized by my role.
I know no one, and the Parisians are... Parisian.
I know somewhere moderately friendly where one can drink, if you're not too busy.
It would be an honor, Herr Gott. What amused me was the difficulty he had in hypnotizing the bricklayer. You see, I've been practicing a little hypnosis in the wards myself.
Professor Minot would be shocked. Come on. About the bricklayer, did you notice that what was paralyzed was merely the man's idea of his hand? The muscles that worked the hand were unaffected. There might be an article to be written on the hysterical paralysis of a given part of the body as defined by the popular idea of its limits, not the anatomical facts. I'm full of ideas myself. The Charcot has fallen out with his German translator. And as soon as the opportunity...
Tell me, do you think it's true that under hypnosis the subject will do anything you command?
Within reason. That's to say, unless you try to violate their moral will.
But isn't that exactly what attracts Le Deux Paris to Charcot's demonstrations? I attended one where he persuaded a girl to stab and kill a number of imaginary assailants.
Yes,
in self-defense, I grant. But when he left the hall, some medical students suggested to her that she was in the bath and should undress.
And did she?
No, she went straight into an hysterical crisis.
You see?
All the same, it's odd she was so quick to perceive the difference between their intention and Charcot's. Sure. Permettimi.
No. What puzzles me is that Charcot denies the curative properties of hypnosis. I mean, surely the power of suggestion has been proved time and again. There's a vast literature on the subject. So vast that I spent all my grant on books and hardly an hour over my pickled brains in the laboratory.
Indeed. The waiters here all seem to know you very well. But of course, you come here to read scientific literature.
Certainly. Why else? Paris seems to have infected your mind, my friend, as it has your clothes.
What is wrong with my clothes? Look at yourself. You're like a German peasant at a funeral. You can't go around Paris like that. I think I better introduce you to my tailor. And my barber. A good French haircut, what do you say? Hmm?
Monsieur le Dr. Freud!
My precious darling, no letter from you today. Instead, one from Ignace, scarcely disguising the gravity of his illness. Comfort, Minna, and write soon. Tonight, I'm invited to one of Charcot's soirees, fortified with cocaine and a new frock coat. Paris has bankrupted me, but I shall see you all the sooner.
Monsieur Freud, the Freud of cocaine. Delbert, you see, your reputation precedes you. Don't worry. I am strongly in favor of this substance. In certain circumstances. Are you here to bring us some new pharmaceutical discovery?
Merely neurological research while attending the master's lectures.
Ah, the lectures. An admirable showman, is he not? And his willing ingenue. They rival Sarah Bernhardt.
In a sense?
In every sense.
I'm not sure I understand.
Oh, I think you do. Surely. It's common knowledge. All been rehearsed. These obedient hysterics. Didn't you know? No. Don't tell me you've been taken in. It's a delightful game.
Rehearsed, monsieur, by whom?
Not by Charcot. I dare say not. But by his assistants. Down to the last detail.
His Excellency, Prince Karl Heinrich of Saxony.
Please, Carl. Come this way, please.
You have been listening to gossip, monsieur. And I hardly think this is the time or the place to impugn Maître Charcot's honor as a scientist and servant of the truth.
Now, if I might introduce you, excuse me.
Good luck with your researches.
My new German translator, Dr. Freud, Prince Karl of Saxony.
Enchanté.
Oh, no, please. Feel at liberty to use your native tongue.
When in Paris, though we are aware of your linguistic accomplishments, have you been a member of this international community for long?
Indeed not, your...
Not, but he is a quick learner. And he will, I hope, soon be our new ambassador in Vienna, in a manner of speaking.
A slow learner, I assure you, but a quick translator. I have with me a draft
No,
of the
please,
first...
please, bring it to me in the morning.
And will you also spread the gospel of hypnotism in Vienna?
The seeds are already sown. My esteemed colleague, Joseph Breuer, has already used the technique on a young patient with remarkable success. The girl was afflicted with multiple paralysis and a variety of delusions. But the family had despaired of her until Breuer took her in hand.
I should be most interested to hear about your case, but if you will forgive me for the moment. Your Excellency, dear colleague.
He found first by hypnosis and then by simply talking, he could free the patient from morbid compulsions.
How very fascinating.
Breuer calls it the cathartic method. To me, it seemed a miracle cure. Somehow, Bertha was able to learn the secrets of autosuggestion and defy the commands of her disease, lancing the painful memories one by one until she repossessed her past entire, her soul. I believe the process was as tortured as a medieval exorcism.
Remarkable. Has he published a report? There are such cases. But we, the doctors, must learn to walk before we can run. And some of us must sleep, monsieur. When time permits, I shall inspect your debut as a translator. And I trust you will send me the rest from Vienna. Hmm? We shall miss you. It is not often that I have the chance to influence one of Professor Meinert's acolytes.
Maître, are you skeptical about Breuer's cathartic treatment?
I am skeptical about miracles, yes. And the power of exorcism is a dangerous gift. I know a great deal about medieval torture.
There are hazards, certainly. Indeed, in this case, I believe the patient fell in love with her torturer.
Of course. Of course. And so did the witches. The seat of hysteria, my friend, is not in the mind, but in the genitals. I tell you, in the genitals. Without sexuality, there would be no such illness. Don't you believe me?
Do you find this in many cases?
In every case. You are a man of some intelligence, but I hope the capacity for self-examination. Now, no doubt you suffer intermittently from migraines, neurasthenia, fatigue, depression. You appear unmarried. Tell me then, to what do you yourself attribute these modest neuroses?
Since Ignaz's death, she won't leave the house. She sits reading.
She must burn his letters. Burn them. Tell her. It's important to clear her mind of it.
I heard you call my name one night in Paris, in the street. It was as if I caught a fever. I couldn't think of anything but you. Sometimes I imagined I was Danton, rescuing you in a runaway coach.
Marty, it's been 4 years. I know your mother was engaged for 9, but I can't go on waiting. I've come to ask you to forgo the ceremony. Rings, presents.
To ask me? Or to hypnotize me?
Come now, I'm serious.
Zigmund, I must talk to you about our plans. Our financial situation has altered.
I know. Eli's lost your diary.
Lost it?
Playing the market, speculating.
He hasn't lost any of it. I told you he's invested it. It's safe.
Then why does he avoid the subject every time I bring it up?
It's not for you to ask him where the money is.
No wonder your mother's so quiet.
My dowry is secure, believe me, what there is of it. As for Mama, we discussed everything at Christmas time. Her objections now are purely practical.
Yes, but doesn't she understand what Paris has done for me? For my standing in the profession? I'm Charcot's chosen translator. People will listen to me, even Meinert, yet in your mother's eyes...
Will you let me speak? Last week, Aunt Leah offered me a wedding gift of 1,250 gulden.
A gift?
Now, add that to Uncle Joseph's legacy, subtract...
You mean we can get married?
1,000 for my trousseau and our house linen.
House linen? I'd marry you without a sheet to our name. Oh, Marty.
Wait. Siggy, you must understand. Mama will not countenance this marriage unless you learn the wedding ceremony and the proper responses in Hebrew. Eli will teach you.
I'll say them in Sanskrit if that's what you require.
In Hebrew. And with a straight face.
Hare at Merkudesh's liebet habe as Zugedas, Moshe Israel. I've already learnt it.
Zigmund. Oh, Dr. Wilhelm Flies, a colleague from Berlin. Dr. Freud, our principal speaker today.
Well, you haven't come specially from Berlin here, please?
Why not? I am also a former student of Maître Charcot. His work is of the greatest interest to us in Germany.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
Oh, Professor Kroback, you know, of course.
We've passed in the corridors.
Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
And congratulations on your marriage.
My God, is he drunk?
Good luck. Rumor has it, Ziggy, you were planning to walk to Hamburg for the wedding.
Well, I borrowed the train fare from my wife's sister.
You should have come to me.
And be further in your debt. Now, this way you're free to approve or condemn my lecture as you please.
Gentlemen, during my 6 months visit to the Salpêtrière in Paris, I was privileged to witness some remarkable developments in the treatment of hysteria, through which Maître Charcot has, I believe, transformed our understanding.
He went to Paris a neurologist, and he has returned a crank. Meinert's words, apparently.
But you expected it. You knew. What did Breuer say?
Smiled. Like a fond parent at a delinquent child. Then he took me aside and asked me what I was charging for consultations.
What did he mean by that?
Nothing insulting. Merely to remind me that a doctor in his first year of general practice, a doctor of controversial reputation, would do well to set modest fees. Joseph means well. He's invited me to an external consultation with one of the richest women in the city.
To hypnotize her?
I doubt it. She's deranged enough already by the sound of it. A baroness could be lucrative. When I left the hall, Meinert stuffed this into my hands without comment.
So he had his answer ready?
Hardly an answer. An old article on the fraudulence and immorality of hypnosis. He actually claims it liberates the sexual impulses in the subcortex. I dare say he imagines he can see the thing springing to attention under the microscope. In the hypnotic state, a human being is reduced to a creature without will or reason, and his nervous and mental degeneration is only hastened by it. Mental degeneration. Most hypnotic cures, in inverted commas, are the result either of lies or self-delusion on the part of doctors and patients whose depraved activities are achieving the proportions of a psychical epidemic among the gullible and the corrupt, the narrow-minded, drunken bigot. Leave them. Let the girl do it.
It's mid-afternoon.
Didn't you know? That's the hour of depravity in Vienna.
Pentheus, a poem dedicated to my dear friend, Professor Rudolf Kroback, gynecologist and magus. Out of the gates of timid Thebes strides the daring one, at dead of night, drawn to the moon's pale sheaves as if by Ariadne's thread. With serpents black the woodland seethes. The mother's rites are worshipped here, and Dionysus in the leaves beckons the weary traveler near. My twin, he breathes, and on him wreathes the bryony, berries of blood he crushes to the breast that seethes once more with life's undying flood.
You do me too much honor.
You deserve more. But as I'm sure you noticed, I ran out of rhymes.
Baroness, may I present Dr. Freud? A young colleague and lecturer in neuropathology who has recently returned from a 6-month visit to the Salpêtrière.
So, you have been working under my beloved Charcot. Do tell me, is his wife still fornicating with hussars?
I failed to inquire, madame.
Dr. Freud has brought with him some equipment modeled on the latest developments in electrotherapy from Paris.
Indeed. Charmant.
And, how is the arm today?
The arm is clay, unfeeling. But the pain here in my cheeks has gone. I feel it like a slap sometimes. A slap that stays and glows. A slap I may have deserved, but never received. Strange. I dreamt I was a statue last night. I'd forgotten. A statue of the Madonna. A plaster statue by the roadside.
If you'll permit me, Baroness.
And the Emperor rode by. He had my father's face. He raised his hat and I heard him say, "Hail, Diana the Huntress!" Oh, it made me laugh to think of it when I woke up. And yet, there was something in his tone. He had my father's voice, deliberate, mocking, as if there was some meaning in the way he said it. Diana. Anna. My name is Anna. You may begin.
Seems to like you. For 20 years, the sheer variety of her symptoms has exhausted the best doctors in Europe. In the circumstances, you may charge 40 gulden. But don't give her morphine, whatever you do.
A remarkable woman. When in one of her trances, I've known her stick knitting needles through her arms.
Between ourselves, the husband is tired of her. After 6 children. I tell you so that you know. These things are usually born in the bedchamber. Hey, Rudolph?
I know what I'd prescribe. Penis normalis. Twice a day.
Oh, sweet Jesus, sweet Jesus, I'm going to die. Help me. I was like nails in my side. Oh, can you feel my temples? They're on fire. Give me something to ease the pain, I beg you. No alkaline water.
Some chloral hydrate.
Something stronger, please.
I dare not.
God, quickly. I can feel it rising, swelling in my throat. I can't swallow.
Trust me, it will pass. There, it's easing.
Yes, yes, quickly. Oh. Look, in the trees, there's 2 men hanging. The 2 of you. Can't you see? There's 2 men hanging in the trees.
It's you and Brian. God. What have I done? Just now, do you know what I thought? You, with your soothing voice, like Breuer. You're a match, you see? Like pendants, a pair of you. Pendants. Hanging. You see? My mind is a better poet than I am. Am I not a worthless person? Now, what I said to you the other day about Charcot, only a worthless person would say such things.
Believe me, it's not incompatible with an unblemished character or a well-governed mode of life. Many of the finest minds, the most gifted and the most generous have suffered what you're suffering.
A nice speech. I'm hungry. Will you take some food with me? Oh, some caviar.
No, thank you.
I want some.
As you wish.
Do something for me. Fetch my children.
It's 2 in the morning, Baroness.
Fetch them, do you hear me? Why won't you fetch them?
Baroness!
Don't use that tone to me! You peasant! You've stolen them. You've taken everything. You bitch! Husband, children, everything I've loved!
I'm not your governess. Look at me.
Don't lie to me. You're not their mother. You're a spy, a dirty spy. Oh, God. At least tell me the truth. They've gone.
Stop this! Your children are asleep. They're safe and well.
Hold me. I need a massage. Oh, please. A genital massage. I need something tonight. Breuer gives me morphine.
No. Has the pain returned? And you said it was like a slap you had deserved but not received. Tell me, is it possible that you once received one that was not deserved? Never?
No! I'm going to be sick.
You're not. You'll turn to me. Look at me. You no longer feel nausea. It's passing. The pain, too, is passing. The pain of the slap. Close your eyes and listen to me. The pain is easing, draining from your face. You feel relaxed, drowsy, free of tension. There is no pain. There is no longer any pain. You feel sleepy. When I tell you to open your eyes, you will do so, and there will be no more pain.
only the need for sleep. For long, long sleep. Open your eyes. Is it better?
Yes.
Doctor, do you play chess?
You wanted to see me, Herr Professor?
You're working at Kazowitz's clinic?
Yes.
Anatomical work?
Yes. On sensory aphasia at present.
I understand from Kazovitz that you know where to perform dissections, now that you've left the hospital. I am placing my laboratory at your disposal.
That's most generous of you. Particularly in view of the opinions you hold about my other work. In the field of the neuroses.
Neuroses? Have you ever had gut? Keep it that way. You're treating the Baroness von Lieben, I hear. Beneath that prim exterior of yours, my friend, lurks an unmitigated rascal. Has she seduced you yet? Oh?
Herr Professor,
I shall tell my assistants to prepare a place for you in the laboratory. As from tomorrow.
Why? Why are you helping me?
I'm giving you a chance to remain a scientist. Besides, I like rascals. They get things done.
And how's the railway magnate?
A glorified clerk, I assure you.
But I understand you've procured Papa a free pass to travel anywhere in Europe. You don't suppose he suddenly decided to take advantage of it today?
He's simply gone for a walk around the ring.
Mama.
One of these days you'll find me in your surgery.
You'll have to wait in line. Won't she?
Some days. Others, I feel like the lion in the story. 12 o'clock and still no blacks.
That'll be your father. I don't suppose he has the faintest idea what time it is.
I'll warn him.
To the table, children.
Such a beautiful day.
Hello, Father.
A shame to come in, really. I heard your name mentioned at the Café Landmann.
Oh? Favorably?
What else? You were seen outside a great house on the Ringstrasse, descending from a coach and pair.
Rented. The coach and pair.
Borrowed finery. Your Uncle Joseph used to own a coach.
Papa, lunch is being served. And Mother's coughing badly again. She must go to a spa.
Until they took him away. Your uncle. For forging banknotes.
It was my father's birthday, of all days. We'd spent it at the lakeside, picnicking. I was pregnant for the first time. I lay in the hotel bedroom waiting for Georg. Reading. Reading.
Can you remember what you were reading?
I was a voracious reader in those days. Montaigne, Francis Bacon. I read the same page again and again that night. Waiting. Counted the roses in the wallpaper. Imagined Georg drowning, floating. Imagined lovers. I pretended to be asleep when Georg came in. Pretended not to smell his breath as he climbed into bed. Then, as the shame and panic of my dreams came back to me, I turned. He put his hand on my breast. He saw my eyes were open, my mouth waiting for his. And he looked at me with hatred. I'd rather make love to a sow in heat. His hand left my breast. And though he never touched me, I felt him spin my head round on the pillow, burning. Felt it like a blow. I couldn't cry. I couldn't move.
Listen to me. You are no longer at Aussee, at the hotel. No longer in trance. You're back in your own house on the Ringstrasse on a fine May afternoon. Can you remember what you told me?
Every word. Oh. Strange, isn't it, that I couldn't remember it till now. It seemed so clear in my mind.
What is the date today?
24th? Oh, of course. My father's birthday. How did you know?
You mentioned it yourself 3 days ago.
He would have been 80. It was his 61st birthday that day at Aussee. Why do they hide from me these memories? As if my life had been chopped into pieces. Why? I can remember once, when I was 15, propped up in bed, some childhood illness, and my grandmother was sitting beside me, reading to me, while I entertained improper thoughts. And she shot me a look as if she knew. And at once I felt such a pain here, as if she'd pierced my brain. It's as though I have the power to convert ideas into flesh. The slap that never came except in words. The nails that I feel sometimes inside. The ball that rises in my throat when I have to swallow something unpalatable to my mind. And even, my dear, when I look at you and once more think improper thoughts, I am so filled with shame, I feel dizzy. I've told you more things in these last few months. More things than I care to remember. Sometimes in the night I wake and blush to think of what I've said to you the night before. Is it possible, do you think, that I am to be free of the slap? Or is it just another interval at the play?
If other patients are anything to go by, you will be free of that particular symptom.
Why? Just by telling you?
No, not by telling me. By reliving the events. You've told me about the incident before.
I have.
You told me calmly, of your own free will, here in this room. But you told me without emotion, embarrassed by the stranger you were telling. So you've forgotten it. As surely as you did the night itself at Aussay. Then too, but far more powerfully, you withdrew from the experience and left a poisoned thorn in the memory. Now, at last, you've drained the poison.
And I told you before? And treated you like a stranger?
Well, that was weeks ago. Today we've tunneled deep, and I think I've earned a cigar.
Dear friend, you have been cunning with me in more than one respect. You know what I'm talking about. You rejected my love for you. I thought at first it was because I was old and worthless to you. And now I realize you were making me work all the harder to satisfy you with my memories. But you know, too, that in my mind you are still my lover.
I doubt if that's what Breuer means by the cathartic method. Sometimes, I think I know her better than anyone in the world. Better than you, even. Well, certainly better than myself. But we don't have hallucinations, you and I. Or weeping fits, confessional trances to illuminate our fantasies. It's nothing to be jealous of, believe me. In some ways, I've learned more from her than Breuer or Charcot. She understands the mind. Its jumps, its lurid puns, and how the body mimics them, drawing attention to some hidden incident. But in disguise, as if the mind itself were the enemy of truth, a censor obliging the disease to speak in code. Her own description. Sometimes she gives me these ideas fully formed.
And what have you given her?
A friend. And something more, perhaps, more localized. When I left her this afternoon, the pains had gone from arms and face. Yes. And Miner thinks that he alone can make a scientist of me. Someone at the door. Marty. It's the Baroness. A manservant. She suffered an acute relapse, pains in her side.
A new symptom?
Oh. My frock coat.